Now, before we get started on a conversation about contracts, those who wear suits in the office want me to be very clear that I am not an attorney, and this content is not to be taken as legal advice. The contract used for your transaction may be different, and these outs may not apply to your situation. Every transaction is unique. So before making any decisions based on the information provided in this video, you should seek professional guidance from an attorney or a licensed real estate agent who can review your contract and provide advice specific to your circumstances. Because here's the downside. Mistakes in the use of a form may result in financial loss, or a contract which is unenforceable. When using any contract forms, you assume all risks associated with their proper use. So don't go running wild with this information. That would be like giving a kid a blowtorch without telling them how to use it, or what happens if they light something on fire if they didn't want to. It's just a bad idea. Also, this content will be covering the 1 to 4 family resale residential contract from the Texas Real Estate Commission that became effective on January 3rd, 2025. Phew, all right, disclaimer done. Now let's get to it. Buying a home is a major life event, like getting married, having kids, or finally learning how to fold a fitted sheet properly. Spoiler alert, that last one might not actually happen. But what if you're a buyer and sign a real estate contract and suddenly get cold feet, or worse, discover something seriously wrong with the house, the deal, or your finances? Fear not. There are several ways to exit a Texas 1 to 4 family residential contract without ending up in a courtroom or experiencing an existential crisis. I'll cover a few of them, and I'll try to keep it lighthearted so this doesn't feel like you're reading the tax code. I'll start by saying our Texas real estate contract is pretty buyer-friendly when you compare the number of buyer outs versus the number of seller outs. Just in the main contract, before any addenda are added, there are 8 places where it says the buyer may terminate and, quote, earnest money will be refunded to buyer. So number 1, we'll start with the most common and most used out, the termination option, also referred to as the option period. In Texas, buyers can purchase a right to terminate the contract for any reason during the option period by paying an option fee. Think of this as your real estate mulligan. You can get out and take another chance on another home. If you have purchased an option period and back out by giving proper notification within the time allowed, then your earnest money is refunded, but you do lose your option fee that you paid. This is usually the safest and simplest way to back out of a contract without a big headache. Number 2, another out in the contract you may have is your financing contingency. If your contract includes a third-party financing addendum and you negotiate to have your purchase contingent upon loan approval, if your financing falls through, you can usually terminate the contract and get your earnest money back. But you must follow the rules. You'll need to notify the seller before the deadline in the addendum. You'll need to provide proof that you made a genuine effort to secure financing. So no, you can't just decide that you don't feel like getting a mortgage anymore. Lenders actually need to deny you for a legitimate reason, such as bad credit, high debt-to-income ratio, or losing your job, though hopefully that last one isn't the case. Number 3, as part of the third-party financing addendum, there's also an appraisal contingency. If the property doesn't appraise for at least the contract price, you might have an out. The operative word is might. The lender won't approve financing if the home's value doesn't support the loan you're getting, and you might be able to renegotiate with the seller or walk away with your earnest money. But the seller does not have to agree to the appraisal price. And if they don't negotiate, you get the option to walk away based on the time allowed in the contract. But beware, if your contract does not have this addendum or this provision, you could be on the hook to cover the shortfall between the appraised value and the sales price. Number 4, as a buyer, you can be protected if there are title issues. The seller must provide a title commitment showing that they have clear ownership. If the title reveals liens, judgments, or legal disputes that the seller cannot or will not resolve, you might have the option to walk away from the contract. Now keep in mind, it's the right to walk away. It's not automatic. If you do want to walk away, there's a timeline and a process to follow, just like any of the other places in the contract that give you the right to cancel. So you'll want to make sure you're following the procedure perfectly. Number 5, as a buyer, you can be protected if there are title issues. Surveys show property boundaries, easements, and potential encroachments, like your neighbor's fence politely invading your yard, or that new home that was built in the property setback. Yeah, I actually had both of those happen to buyers of mine. If the survey shows issues and the seller can't or won't fix them, you may be able to terminate, but you do, again, need to follow the proper procedure to do so. Number 6, another out in the contract is what I'll call the, wait, you didn't tell me that. And for this one, we're talking about the seller's disclosure. Almost all sellers in Texas are required to provide a seller's disclosure notice listing any known defects. If they fail to do so and are required to provide this, you may be able to terminate at any time. If you receive the disclosure late, you may have 7 days after receiving it to cancel. And sellers, don't try to hide something. Like that time your house flooded and you had a huge insurance claim because of it, which some sellers tried to do to some buyers of mine who found out from the insurance agent when they went to get insurance on the property. Yeah, that was a wild one. Number 7, we're moving on to our 7th out in the contract, and we'll call that the I'm not paying for that exit, or more formally known as lender required repairs. Lenders sometimes require repairs before approving a loan. The seller is not required to make these repairs, but if they decline, the lender will not be able to approve the property for the loan, which would force you out of the contract. Now, if the cost exceeds 5% of the purchase price, you may actually be able to terminate and get your earnest money back. But again, there's a lot of nuance to this provision, so you want to follow the rules. Now, our 8th contract out for a buyer is the "oops, the house flooded" clause. But the contract would rather call this the Casualty Loss section. If the house is damaged or destroyed before closing, the seller must restore it to its previous condition. If they can't, you could possibly be able to terminate and get your earnest money back. Or sometimes you might be able to accept the damaged house and take the insurance proceeds. But that's not common. But hey, life is full of surprises. Number 9, the last contract out we'll cover for this episode is the "you didn't do what you said you would do" section, also known as seller default. If the seller breaches the contract by refusing to close, or maybe not providing agreed upon repairs, or failing to meet deadlines, it's possible you could terminate and get your earnest money back. And for my final thoughts, know your rights and use them wisely. Contracts are serious business, but they're not unbreakable. If you need to get out of one, make sure you do it legally, ethically, and in a timely manner. And always, always read the fine print before signing anything. In this episode, I covered just some of the ways you may be able to get out of a contract if you have those items negotiated in your contract. Depending on the way it's written and the addenda included, there are a lot of ways buyers can exit a contract and keep their earnest money. So you want to make sure you're working with a knowledgeable real estate agent who can help you navigate that process. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Jennifer Templeton. I'm a realtor and broker associate with the Crest Edge Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. And we work with buyers and sellers all over the DFW Metroplex. If you are thinking about making a move, I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can call or text me directly at 214-803-4444 or send me an email to jennifer@thecrestedgegroup.com to get started. And if you liked this video, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more real estate updates, and go ahead and check out our next video. I'll see you there. Bye now. Oh, and just in case you needed a reminder, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This content is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This content is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.